Chapter 16. Helen's nostrils filled with his scent only a few inches from her face. Helen figured she could help him before taking her shower, obediently getting on her knees as she's had to do for her husband while he ranted and raved about needing sexual attention. Yet Helen felt so different, like in her prayer closet alone, unable to hide from Jabari's gaze, gently kissing Jabari's penis and licking her lips to savor the taste as she reached his balls. She stroked him with both hands as she worked the head of his penis. Jabari, where are you?" Piper asked. Helen got up immediately, rushing to his bathroom, leaving him alone, and Piper came inside to find him adjusting his pants. Piper smiled. "You were thinking about me?" I guess you could say that." Jabari went with the flow, gesturing for Piper to climb up on the bed. "Where's my mom?" Piper asked, nervous as Jabari peeled her pants down, taking little time to feel her up, sending her down at her elbows as she let him reach deep against her womb. "You're hard as a rock right now. Why are you so bricked up?" "Why are you asking about your mama?" "Because this place isn't that big, and I didn't see her, and your dick is rock hard. Were you banging my mom?" Piper tried interrogating, but as her butt clapped against Jabari's hips, she quelled her inquiry into a moaning fit. "She's using my bathroom, but I didn't put my dick in her." Jabari held Piper's waist with both his hands. "Do you have an extra towel?" Helen dared to ask, confronting them in the act. Poking her head back inside the bedroom once again rested with the image of her daughter making love to this black man. Helen's hands massaged Jabari's shoulders, whispering in his ears. Jabari lost control inside of Piper. Piper's eyes rolled in the back of her head, not seeing her mother until she was ready to scream. "Mom!" Piper cried out, wanting to disappear. "I need a towel." Helen repeats, stark naked and soaking wet, realizing she had no way to dry off. "Hallway closet, or the second bathroom I told you about," Jabari noted, losing his pacing with Piper. Piper cursed under her breath, reaching her orgasm as the exposure heightened all her senses. "You watching me have sex again?" Piper covers herself up. "I have no interest in you, Piper. I want him," Helen specified, going off back to the bathroom. "Are you looking at her ass?" Piper snaps as Jabari's head trails off with her mom. "You realize she almost had you killed, right? You told me your pussy was worth it, right?" Jabari reminded Piper of what started all this drama. "Yeah, but your mama has some making up to do for me." Jabari squeezes Piper's butt, flipping her over. "You're gonna have sex with my racist mom?" "I decided to keep you two. You're free to leave whenever you want, considering you seem ready for more. I'm gonna sell this condo and we'll move back to your house or out west," Jabari explained. Piper bit her lip. "My daddy warned me about this happening. Black man coming in to make love to you and your mama is better with them lynching and shooting niggas. But I want to fuck two big booty white girls, and I'm wrong." Jabari joked, but had sincerity in what he said. Piper rolls her eyes. "I don't even like my mom. Now, you like her? How?" "She'd been flirting with me since I tried to comfort her in the kitchen. Then she wanted to curl up in my bed, and I don't know. She looked like she belonged in my bed." Jabari shrugged. "You want her and not me. Like I said, and I'll say it one last time, you two are free to go, but I plan to keep both of you." Jabari lay on his bed, stretching out long and pointing to the kitchen. "Baby, can you get your duck out the oven?" "You didn't even come." Piper crosses her arms over her chest. "I'm gonna enjoy you two living with me," Jabari notes, massaging her butt as Piper gets up to listen to his simple request. Helen returned wrapped in a towel, drying her hair with a second towel. Helen uncomfortably maneuvered around her daughter and her boyfriend, sitting on the bed to dry herself off. Jabari had Piper's butt in one hand. Helen sat close enough for him to wrap up her waist as well. A few tugs and Helen sat up, coming over and resting her head on his waist. "I would like both of you to stay," But if you wanted to go, I understand. Jabari offered, massaging Helen's back while he massaged Piper's butt. Piper, I need you to go get your duck and do that magic you did earlier with the sauce. Okay, baby. Piper looked at her mom, abnegating her jealousy. Piper was shocked that in 1,000 years her mother would be naked in a black man's bed so casually and relaxed, smoking a blunt with him and rubbing his thighs inches from his penis. Her mother watched impatiently for Piper to leave them alone. I gave you two your privacy, and I'll do the same, Helen demanded. Piper left as her mother's towel fell. She had heard her mother giggling and jesting for the first time since her grandfather died. When Piper came back to tell them dinner was ready, she was even taking a few extra moments to make her Peking sauce. Her mother had been on her back with her legs wrapped around Jabari's face. Her mother's eyes closed, back arched in pure ecstasy. Neither noticed Piper. Piper covered her mouth, hiding behind the wall as Jabari mounted her mother. Helen cried out as she was penetrated, praying as her body quickly adjusted to his girth like a fitted glove. Helen peeked an eye open, finding the red hair poking out from behind the wall, yet she couldn't raise her voice to say anything as her body involuntarily moved to meet the young man's thrust. Helen panted as Jabari stretched out her walls. Helen grunts and fights Jabari, pushing him back as the pain starts to cause her discomfort. Piper sighs, revealing herself and kneeling by her mother's head, stroking her hair out of her face. You need to relax and just take it. Stop tensing up like it's a small one. You need to just relax. Helen looks away, unable to listen to Piper and deal with the discomfort. Embarrassment and shame consume her. Helen, just chill and let me do the work. Jabari confirmed what Piper had said. Helen let out a deep breath, letting Jabari lift her legs on his shoulders, taking his time, holding her flesh against his waist. Helen's tongue fell from her mouth, nodding as she listened to them both, feeling the world around her melt away as she was left with her thoughts. Jabari's pace intensified with each thrust until the pain turned to pleasure. You see? It's good, Piper soothed. Helen felt something she tried to hide so desperately before her daughter coming alive. Flipping onto her stomach into a more comfortable position, Piper covered her mouth as her mother offered herself to Jabari from her stomach, lifting her round, voluptuous butt into the air for him. Jabari drooled, looking at Helen's backside, tripping over himself to get back inside her, feeling like he was in heaven as he penetrated Helen from the new angle with her butt pressed against him. Helen couldn't hide her excitement, feeling truly beautiful in her skin for the first time in her life. Piper laughed at the expression on their faces as the two hungrily moved their hips. My mom, of all people, likes black cock. Piper slaps her forehead, taking one of the blunts from the nightstand and giving them privacy. Instead of the Zen garden, Piper explored the rest of the apartment, sitting in the living room where she had a plasma TV, a game system, and a fire stick. Piper laid out on the sectional couch with a blanket, watching Orange is the New Black, with a plate of Peking duck and vegetable fried rice with a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream from the gas station. Piper was awoken by her mother. Jabari slept in the bedroom, worn out from the sex with both women, enjoying his day despite all the drama. I'm sorry for not talking to you first. Helen rubbed Piper's head. Have you heard from Dad yet? I haven't heard from Dad or Doug. I feel bad moving on so quickly if something bad happened to them. Helen frowned, sitting next to Piper. I feel bad if something happened to Dad. I couldn't care less about Doug. Piper rechecked her phone. Try calling the hospitals. Jabari yawned from the kitchen, desperately needing some pineapple juice. Helen poked out her lip, nodding, looking at Piper with confirmation of a good idea. Piper followed suit, calling around Rochester for where her father would be located. Neither woman nor Jabari knows the actual carnage that went down that night. Scott was found on life support and shot twice in the back. The doctors had to induce a coma. Scott had insurance, so they took him in, but had no way to contact his next of kin. Helen didn't have her cell phone. Douglas had died from blood loss after fighting for his life in Highland Hospital. Dad's in Highland, Piper cheers. Helen smiled slightly, disappointed as she cheated on her husband. She initially thought he had died and could start a new life. Helen looked back to find Jabari had already returned to the bedroom to sleep. Piper continued watching her show as Helen joined her new lover on the bed. "I have to leave to join my husband's side," Helen informed Jabari, massaging his neck and back. "He made it. Good." Jabari was more excited than she could have imagined. "You're not mad?" "I'll be real. Your husband didn't cause all this. You and her fiancé did." Jabari shrugged, sitting up. "If he died, I don't get paid either, so it's good to hear he made it." Helen curled up in the bed. "I thought we might start a new life here, repopulate the earth." "The earth hasn't ended." Helen Hirsch is making love to her daughter's black boyfriend. "Maybe the world ended and I'm living in a dream." Helen joked, using her maiden name. "Want me to drive you to the hospital or call you a ride?" Jabari asked. "Well, we only made love once. He's in a coma. We can try this out a couple more times before I go. Then maybe I'll see you when you have to come back to cut the grass." Helen reached between his legs. Jabari pretended to have fallen asleep. His dick was sore and exhausted from both insatiable women, yet felt powerless as Helen went between his legs, suckling and deep-throating his dick as she practiced in her prayer room. Jabari lay enjoying her massage, relaxing as Helen climbed on top of him, letting him rest as she rode him like her days as an equestrian, pinching him between her thighs, bouncing her weight. Jabari had nothing left inside him, but Helen worked out a lifetime of demons, returning to her favorite form of prayers, happy to have a partner in her holiest ritual since her teenage years. When Jabari finally became flaccid inside of Helen's wall, she could barely feel the difference than with her husband normally, winding her hips while looking profoundly upon her young lover, taking her daughter's boyfriend from her to do with as she pleased. Helen felt victorious laying on top of Jabari, purring as he kneaded her butt, unable to grasp its magnitude, admiring her in odontologist worship. Helen rode the young man, draining Jabari's life force inside of her womb. Helen collapsed on her rival's chest, kissing his neck and biting his ear, feeling satisfied for the first time in her sex life. Helen giggled, sneaking out of the bedroom while Jabari rested. Helen found Piper eating alone, crying quietly. Helen was in pure nirvana, but her maternal instincts couldn't ignore her daughter sobbing. "I'm very sorry for sleeping with your boyfriend. I'm so sorry I caused all this." Helen held her hand to her chest, dressed in Jabari's Oxfords with her womanhood exposed for all to see. "I don't care about that. It's Dad." Piper sobbed uncontrollably, holding out her phone. Pictures of the massacre flipped on social media. Pictures of Douglas, Matthew, cops, and Scott as the news reported the damage. Helen covered her face, turning bright red, unable to process what she caused. The man she wanted dead was sleeping like a baby, and the men she brought to kill him were maimed or dead. Helen didn't know how she would possibly live with herself. Piper stayed the evening, but after Helen showered once more and took the Uber ride to the hospital to support her husband, Piper was glad she had her man back. She felt it was too soon to face her father. The young couple watched her TV show on the couch, finding her bored and annulled and enjoying her new environment.